I put the trip together with a couple of things in mind. First, I wanted the girls to have a rich cultural experience. Second, I wanted them to have an opportunity to visit both HBCU schools as well as some state schools, some larger institutions. I also wanted the girls to have a volunteer experience, and so I thought about the places that I had traveled, and New Orleans came to mind. I reached out to a couple of my contacts in New Orleans to help be my eyes and ears on the ground, and they put me in touch with the Common Ground Clinic, which is a community-based health clinic in Algiers that was started right after Katrina. It would give them an opportunity to sort of give back to an area that was hit by a natural disaster during their life.
I think if there's an important lesson a lot of people have learned from being involved in the clinic, it's that I think it's in a way self-reliance, and that sometimes there will be situations where there's a service that's needed and the only way you can do it is just decide to do it yourself.
Okay.
Not wait for anyone to tell you to do it or like give you the resources you need to do it.
Everything that you do in life doesn't have to be because of money. It doesn't have to be driven because you have some personal gain. There's always somebody worse off than you, and you need to be grateful for what you have. And so I've taught that through the girls, through putting them in situations of community service so that they get an opportunity to see people, places, and things outside of their community, so it gives them a realistic comparison of what they have and take responsibility for changing the community around them. And so I promote that through not only taking them to New Orleans and providing them with an opportunity to volunteer in New Orleans, but providing them with opportunities to volunteer in their hometown of Chicago and in their community, because they need to see themselves as agents of change.
And your major is?
Nursing.
Nursing. Okay. And so what impressed you about the university?
It's very nice. It's an HBC.
Give me the three major things that would influence your decision to go to Dillard.
My major. I guess the environment. Yeah, the environment, and hopefully the dorm room. Yeah, just leaving Chicago and experience. Yeah.
I think the college visits were good because it allowed them to compare HBCU schools to some of the local schools in New Orleans. It allowed them to sort of get a real live glimpse at how to measure why they choose a school, i.e. does the school have their major, do they like campus life, do they like the surrounding community, neighborhood, is there diversity. So the campus tours were also, I should say, enlightening, because I found some girls like the dorm rooms of this school, but then they didn't have their major. So it was really interesting for me to watch how their brains work and how they are learning to sort of critically think through their decisions.
Those are the dorms of Southern University in Louisiana. So these are trailers where the kids are having classes. So your dissertation, Dr. DeGrew, is on what?
It's called Motivational Factors Underlying College Students' Decisions to Return to New Orleans Post-Katrina.
My opinion. What are some other ways that you can continue to become self-sufficient and self-reliant?
Integrity on yourself.
Integrity.
Yeah.
Confidence.
Getting help from people.
Getting help from people. Okay, so building a network. Staying focused.
The plantation tour symbolized for me a part of ourselves as African Americans that we don't like to talk about, at least in my experience, that we don't have a whole lot of knowledge about. And in talking to the girls prior to going to visit the plantation, they had really no idea about how slaves lived. They had no idea of what slavery was like. And so having the opportunity to visit two plantations, which was great because we had an opportunity to compare and contrast, one of which, the Evergreen Plantation, is privately held, and it's also still a working sugar plantation today. So they got a realistic look at 22 original slave cabins that were not restored but repaired. And what that did for them is they got a real live look at how slaves lived in contrast to the slave master.
These are
Stop you here for a minute.
safe cabins.
Tell you a little bit about the cabins, then I'll take you up there and we'll look at the financing for it. Now, as I told you, there are.
I think it's very interesting on how they used to live and what I have now. And I could really say, like, I have no reason not to be grateful and everything, because it's like this small space. And like, if you have a big family, it's like no room, you're sleeping on floors. And it's like just, wow. Like, I don't know what to say. It's just, I mean, I don't know. Unbelievable.
Well, I'm pretty shocked. I didn't really know how slaves live when they worked on plantations, and I also didn't know how the owners live. And by me seeing how the inside of their cabins look, it kind of makes me a little bit sad because of the fact of how, well, I don't know how to actually put it. It's just the fact that how they was enslaved, basically. Like, they were, how many is it? 22?
22.
It's 22 slaves working on one plantation. I just felt like they should have a chance to at least be free. Or at least have the opportunity like the other slave did at the other plantation, to where they at least had one Saturday off to do whatever they want.
New Orleans is always known for Mardi Gras and a time of celebration and party. And a time of people, you know, gathering together to really celebrate Bourbon Street, Canal. I mean, that's what I associate with New Orleans. And Katrina, which was a natural disaster, happened in, I think it's 2005. It's a natural disaster, and natural disasters are a part of life. Choosing New Orleans and choosing to have them to give back and volunteer, they got a chance to experience both parts of those. They got a chance to go to Bourbon Street, they got a chance to experience the local cuisine, they got a chance to celebrate. But then they also had the opportunity to serve and to band together and to help people, because that's a natural circle. So I think in choosing New Orleans, it was a great opportunity for me to demonstrate to them in a practical way the ebb and flow of life.